Hi everybody, this is Miss Faina. Today we're going to be talking about 1 and 2 step equations. So first we need to learn about inverse operations. Okay? Inverse operations undo each other. Okay? So if we're adding, its inverse operation is subtraction. Okay? If we're subtracting, its inverse operation is adding. Okay? They undo each other. Okay? If we are multiplying, okay, its inverse operation is dividing. Again, they undo each other. They're opposites, undo. Okay, so let's look at example 1. We have x plus 3 equals 19. When we go to solve equations, the first thing we do is draw a line through the equal sign. Okay, it allows us to keep it separate so we know when we're moving things across the line. Okay, so I want to get this 3 to go to the other side. Right now it's a plus 3. That means it's adding 3. We're going to do its inverse operation and subtract 3 from both sides. Because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to both sides in order to keep it balanced. So when I do that, 3 minus 3 zeroes out. I drop down the variable x. I bring down my equal sign and I subtract. 19 minus 3, I get 16. And that's it. So now I want you to try. X plus 2.5 equals 9.2. Solve for x. So you should have drawn a line through the equal sign and you subtract 2.5 from both sides. Again, our goal is to get the x by itself. When you do that, the 2.5 minus 2.5 zeroes out. You bring down your variable x. You drop down your equal sign, and 9.2 minus 2.5, you get 6.7. Okay, going on to example 2, I have x minus 9 equals 12. Notice now I have a minus sign, so the inverse operation of subtracting is addition. So again, draw a line through the equal sign. I'm going to do the opposite, and now I'm going to add 9. And what I do to one side, I must do to the other, so I add 9 again. Okay, negative 9 plus 9 zeroes out. I drop down my variable. I bring down my equal sign, and I add 12 plus 9, and I get 21. Okay, if we wanted to check our work, we could always plug in 21 and do 21 minus 9, and it should give us 12. Okay, so now I want you to try. So you should have drawn a line through the equal sign. You add 3.9 to both sides, because what you do to one side, you must do to the other. You've got to keep it balanced. So negative 3.9 plus 3.9 zeroes out. You drop down your variable x, and 0 plus 3.9 is just positive 3.9. Okay, so that was addition and subtraction. Now let's look at some multiplication. Remember, a number next to a variable is multiplication. Okay, again, we still draw a line through the equal sign. Okay, the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So if I'm multiplying by 5, I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to divide by 5. Okay, now that we're getting into higher level algebra, we're going to start showing division by drawing a line under it, like it looks like a fraction. What I do to one side, I must do to the other side. Okay, 5x divided by 5. Well, 5 divided by 5 is 1. Okay, so it leaves me with just a 1x or x. And then I take the other side, 30 divided by 5, and I get 6. So if I were to plug that back in, I would have 5 times 6 and it gives me 30, which means it works out. Okay, so I want you to try this one. So you should have drew a line through the equal sign, and you see that we're multiplying by 7. So you should have divided both sides by 7 to keep it balanced. Okay, 7x divided by 7. Again, the 7's make a 1. You're just left with a 1x. And negative 56 divided by 7 is a negative 8. And again, you can always check your answer if needed. Okay, looking at example number 4. Notice now I have x over 3. That means division. So fractions are now how we represent division in Algebra 1. So the opposite of division is multiplication, and I want to multiply by what's in the numerator or the denominator. Okay, so to get rid of the 3 in the denominator, I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. Well, first, again, draw your line through the equal sign, and what you multiply on one side, you got to multiply on the other side. Okay, so when I do that, the 3 times the 1/3, that's really what that is with the 3 in the denominator. That again makes a 1, which just leaves us with a 1x. And 5 times 3 is 15. And again, if you wanted to check your work, you could always plug it back in. So we would take 15 for x divided by 3, and when I do 15 divided by 3, I do get 5. So it does check out. Okay, so now I want you to try this one. So you should have drew a line through the equal sign. Again, you see that you're dividing by 8. So the opposite of dividing by 8 is multiplying by 8. So we're going to multiply both sides by 8. 8 divided by 1/8, okay, again, makes a 1. You bring your variable down. 2 times 8, you should have gotten 16. Okay, now we're moving into two-step equations. So all of those were just one-step equation. Now we're moving into two steps. So this is going to require us to do 2 steps at once. Okay, so we break it down piece by piece. First, we want to add or subtract if we can. So I'm going to look right here. Okay, so in order to move that 3 over, I need to do the opposite. So I want to subtract 3 from both sides, which leaves me, again, 3 minus 3, that zeroes out, and I drop down this. But now it's not just an x, it's a 2x. Okay, so I have 15 minus 3, that leaves me with 12. So now what I need to do is I need to get this 2, or again, my goal is to get x by itself. And right now it's being multiplied by the number 2. Opposite of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Again, 2 divided by 2 makes a 1 and leaves me with a 1x. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. Okay, if I were to plug it back in to check my work, I have 2 times 6 plus 3. Well, 2 times 6 is 12, plus 3 is 15, which is what we want it to equal, so that answer does work. So what I want you to do is I want you to try this one on your own. So first, you should have drawn a line through an equal sign. Again, you want to see that we want to move the negative 4 to the other side. Okay, since it is a negative 4 or a minus 4, we're going to add 4 to both sides. When we do that, negative 4 plus 4 is 0, so it zeroes each other out. We drop down our variable for y, and I add 16 plus 4, and I get 20. Okay, now I have 4 times y, so I want to get y by itself, and I'm multiplying it by 4, so I'm going to divide by 4. So 4y divided by 4 makes a 1, leaves me with just a 1y. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So you should have got 5 as your answer. Okay, looking at example 6. Again, we want to move the 5 over first. You want to add or subtract first. Okay, so we draw a line through the equal sign. You subtract 5 from both sides. So 5 minus 5 zeroes out. You're left with x divided by 2 equals 12 minus 5, which is 7. Okay, now we're dividing by 2. So remember, the opposite of division is multiplication. So I want to multiply both sides by 2. Again, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. It has to be balanced. So 2 times a 1/2 makes a 1. I bring down my variable. 7 times 2 is 14. That would be my answer. Again, you can always check your work. We plug in 14 divided by 2 plus 5. 14 divided by 2 is 7 plus 5 leaves us with 12. That's what we wanted it to be. So now I want you to try this one. Okay, so on this, first thing you should have done is draw a line through the equal sign. You see that we have a 4, a positive 4. We want to move it to the other side, so we have to do the opposite, the inverse operation, and subtract 4 from both sides. So 4 minus 4 is 0, leaves us with an a divided by 3. 6 minus 4 is 2. Now, since I have a dividing by 3, I want that 3 out of the denominator. Opposite of division is multiplication. Okay, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. 3 times a 1/3 makes a 1, which just leaves me with an a. And 2 times 3 is 6. So you should have gotten 6. So if you have any questions, please make sure you ask your teacher, and hopefully you followed along and took notes as we went along. Have a great day, Rangers.